Published 11:09 EST, the 11th of November 2017. Updated 12:50 EST, the 11th of November 2017. Raymond Hill, 57, who lives near Belfast, said the 52 passengers on board Flybe flight BE 331 listened in eerie silence as the cabin crew went through the drills for an emergency landing. A passenger on a Flybe aircraft that dramatically crash-landed in Belfast without its front wheel has revealed he feared he would not make it off the plane alive. Raymond Hill, 57, who lives near Belfast, said the 52 passengers on board Flybe flight BE 331 listened in eerie silence as the cabin crew went through the drills for an emergency landing. As the plane circled around Belfast International Airport, the auctioneer looked down at his house in Ballyclare and wondered if he would ever return to his wife Julie, and two children, Oliver, 15, and Christian, 10. Passengers on the Inverness-bound plane were informed there was a problem with one of the wheels just moments after taking off from George Best Airport in Belfast at 11:20 a.m. yesterday. After an hour of trying to work out how to fix the problem mid-air, the captain of the Bombardier 8Q400 told the passengers and three crew to prepare for an emergency landing. Mr. Hill, CEO of the City Auction Group, said circling at 3,800 feet over Belfast as the pilot burned off fuel were the longest 2 hours of my life. He told Mail Online it seemed like a week up there. We were just holding hands and some people were crying. Nobody spoke as the staff went through the drills about what to do when we landed. It was very eerie. No one asked any questions. There was a baby on board and an old lady who was in a bad way and very confused, but otherwise everyone was calm. The father of two, who was traveling with 24 friends including his brother David to the Dorset Sheep Society AGM in Inverness, said the crew told people to remove glasses and false teeth for the emergency landing. I was sitting at the back of the plane and as we prepared to land it was very, very scary, he said. I looked down on my house as we circled over it and thought that if I ever got off this alive I will never fly again. The Flybe aircraft carrying 52 passengers and 4 crew carried out an emergency landing in Belfast International Airport after its landing gear failed to deploy when the aircraft attempted to land. This image shows the plane after landing as the plane circled around Belfast International Airport. The auctioneer looked down at his house in Ballyclare and wondered if he would ever return to his wife Julie, left, and two children, Oliver, 15, and Christian, 10. Right, top and bottom. Mr. Hill, CEO of the City Auction Group, pictured with his son, Christian, said circling at 3,800 feet over Belfast as the pilot burned off fuel were the longest 2 hours of my life. The aircraft eventually came in to land at Belfast International Airport at 1:30 p.m. with just 2 of its 3 wheels working. The propeller aircraft's nose was left skidding along the runway as it came to a halt on the tarmac where fire engines were waiting. When we were coming down to land it was really scary, but the captain did a magnificent landing, Mr. Hill said. It was so smooth that I didn't even know we had landed. The crew were brilliant, absolutely great, and when everyone left the plane there was no pushing and shoving. Everyone remained very calm. Now I feel I've been so lucky and I can get up in an aeroplane again. Lightning doesn't strike twice. Hailing the actions of the crew, Brian Strutton, General Secretary of Pilots Union BALPA, said landing without a nose gear is a very difficult maneuver, but one pilots train extensively for. The pilots in this case appear to have done a sterling job of bringing the aircraft back under those circumstances. The propeller aircraft's nose was left skidding along the runway as it came to a halt on the tarmac where fire engines were waiting. The aircraft circled Belfast for 2 hours before the captain elected to land with the nose gear up, leaving the aircraft sliding along the runway to be met by fire and rescue crews. The pilot attempted to keep the nose up for as long as possible before it hit the runway and skidded to a stop. Flybe said one passenger was taken to hospital with a minor hand injury. No other casualties were reported, an airline spokeswoman said. The Air Accident Investigations Branch confirmed they were sending a team of experts to look into today's incident in an effort to determine what happened. The airline told Mail Online Flybe can confirm that there has been an incident involving one of our Bombardier Q400 aircraft, Flight No BE 331, which landed with no nose gear in place. The aircraft departed from Belfast City at 11:07 local time bound for Inverness. The incident occurred at Belfast International Airport at approximately 13:30 local time. There are 52 passengers on board and 4 crew members. Our primary concern is for the welfare of the passengers and crew. The aircraft landed safely on the main runway at Belfast International Airport. Pictured. Although it remains closed, the Flybe aircraft declared an emergency after the flight crew were alerted to a problem with the turboprop's nose gear. A spokesperson for Belfast International Airport said Flybe Flight BEE 331 routing Belfast City BHD to Inverness INV declared an emergency after takeoff from BHD and subsequent intention to divert to Belfast International Airport BFS shortly after 1300, stating an undercarriage fault. The aircraft landed safely on the main runway 25 at BFS at 13:33, blocking the runway, at which stage the event was upgraded to an aircraft accident. No serious injuries have been reported. Full emergency response procedures have been activated at BFS, but the airport remains open and operational utilizing the BFS crosswind runway. It comes just months after a February incident in which a Flybe plane from Edinburgh was evacuated after its landing gear collapsed during touchdown at Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport. No passengers were hurt in that crash landing and they were taken to the airport terminal following the incident before being offered support. A Flybe spokesman said at the time Flybe can confirm that there has been an incident involving one of our aircraft, flight no BE 1284. The aircraft departed from Edinburgh at 2:10 p.m. local time bound for Amsterdam. The incident occurred at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport at approximately 4:59 p.m. local time, 3:59 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. We can confirm that there are no injuries and all passengers have been bused to the airport terminal. Our primary concern is for the welfare of the passengers and crew. A damaged Scandinavian Airlines Dash 8400 aircraft sits on the runway at Copenhagen Airport October 27, 2007. The aircraft crashed after its landing gear collapsed shortly after touching down. None of the 40 passengers and 4 crew members were injured. Today's emergency landing at Belfast International Airport comes 10 years after an airline grounded its fleet of Q400 aircraft after a series of crash landings. Scandinavian Airline SAS, which has 27 of the planes, had only recently resumed flights of the Q400 turboprops. In October 2007, after it had been forced to ground its fleet following 2 crash landings in September, in Lithuania and in Denmark. No one was seriously injured in any of the 3 crash landings, which all involved problems with landing gear. The planes are designed for regional services and carry up to 78 passengers. The then chief executive of SAS Mats Jansen said at the time confidence in the Q400 has diminished considerably and our customers are becoming increasingly doubtful about flying in this type of aircraft. The deputy chief executive John Duerholm added that due to repeated quality-related problems there was a risk that use of the Dash 8 Q400 could damage the SAS brand. Scandinavian aviation authorities on Saturday also issued a new flight ban on all SAS Q400 turboprops. At least 23 similar incidents involving the same model of aircraft, including today's at Belfast International Airport, were reported between 2005 and this year. Spectators photographed the aircraft as it approached Belfast International Airport, showing the missing nose gear. A profit warning issued by Flybe in October blamed higher than expected maintenance costs of its Bombardier Q400 turboprop aircraft. The firm said the costs formed part of a drive to improve reliability of the planes, adding that adjusted first-half pre-tax profits would be in the range of £5 million to £10 million, down from consensus estimate of £15 million, compared to a £15.9 million adjusted pre-tax profit a year ago. Flybe warned investors in March that it would fall into the red after previously predicting a small profit. But in June it confirmed a year pre-tax loss of £19.9 million. Chief Executive Christina Amirswidener said the higher maintenance costs were down to extra checks on its aircraft and modifications. "We think now that we have done these increased costs, we are now back in the reliability levels where we should be," she said. "Overall, the plan is neatly on track. We are now doing what we said we'd do and decreasing capacity." In 2010, Flybe announced a $1.3 billion order for 35 planes as part of growth plans. The airline said at the time that the Embraer 175 jets would underpin its expansion into Western Europe, but the firm cancelled all but 4 of its jets orders and instead agreed with U.S. regional airline Republic to lease 24 Bombar 71-seat Q400. Emergency services gathered at the edge of the runway before the aircraft came in to land. The Bombar took off from Belfast at 11:20 and spent 2 hours circling to burn off fuel. Bombar-8 Q400 declared an emergency after leaving Belfast this morning on a flight to Inverness.